Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am finally back, and I'm going to give you how Monster High is related to Rosario Vampire. Okay then, you're gonna have to pay attention because there are a lot. One, both take place in a high school. Or at least one, they take place in a high school. Two, Draculaura is literally Mocha's counterpart in that they share count them, five things in common. One, they both have pink in their hair. Two, they are both immature. Three, they both can't handle drama too well. Four, no, this is kind of very evident, they're both super friendly. And finally, five, Mocha is a vegetarian at the very beginning of Rosario Vampire, while Draculaura is a vegetarian throughout the entire series. That's 6 comparisons so far. Next is the other monsters, also couples. In Rosario Vampire, no matter who you pair Skune Ano with, it's always going to be, especially since after season 1, Skune becomes half monster. No matter who you pair him with, unless you pair him with the witch, it's going to be monster with human/monster. Now in Monster High, no matter who, in Monster High you have the main character, Frankenstein, right? Who do they pair him with in Monster High Volume 2? That's right. They pair him with Jackson, who turns into the Mr. Hyde. Therefore, he is a human/monster. Do you see the couple comparison? Number 7 on my list. I'm already halfway through my list, people. Number 8. Gin's counterpart is Claude. This one is a little bit hard to see, but follow me here. If Gin Morioka did what he did in America, he would be thrown in jail. Being a sophomore, still, he would have gotten at least detention and yes, some physical therapy, or something like that. He would be getting into a lot of trouble. And in fact, since people in Monster High, or at least Rosario Vampire, were yes considered mature enough to be considered adults, he would be yes in jail. So in order to Americanize him, you have to take away the pervertedness, keep the gentleman, take away a number of other things. What do you get that's left? You've got to, of course, put him in things that are more American style, sports, manly things. Get him to exercise, but keep the gentleman part. Now that part, include me in that it was Gin. There you go. And of course, he's protective. Another thing. In Rosario Vampire, despite the fact Gin is a coward, he is still protective. This should be noted in the fact that Gin tries to protect the witch and tries to warn his friends of Kuyo's crew, especially since he was scarred of what Kuyo did to his previous team. There you go. Kuyo is Claude. Now, as for Ruby, you're going to have to stay with me again. Ruby, in Season 2, if you did want to see that, you could go ahead. But I'm going to give you a heads up. Ruby is, in some senses, Gin's girlfriend. You could look at it that way. But otherwise, Ruby was protective of Gin in Season 2 of Rosario Vampire. This could be relative to the fact that in Monster High, she is therefore Claudine. And yes, does hang in Rosario Vampire with Skune's crew from time to time. Yes, it's true. So, therefore, Claudine is Ruby. Next, the witch is actually Ghoulia. They couldn't put Succubus and the witch into Monster High for good reason, because of the Christians and Catholics and all that stuff. Therefore, all those monsters, you won't see in Monster High. I finally figured it out. You won't be seeing any of those monsters at all, apparently. Because I haven't seen any of them at all in the series. They are technically monsters and demons and etc., etc. Now, werewolves are kind of a demon, but werewolves actually have an origin where they were tricked by the devil. Yes, tricked by the devil and were turned into werewolves by the devil. So maybe that's why werewolves are seen in Monster High. Next, Laguna and her crew are technically the mermaids from Rosario Vampire. Why they put them in? I guess they needed a comparison. Racism? Well, of course, every high school needs a racist group. So Monster High can get away with that. How many have I put in so far? So far, I've put in past 10 remarks. Now, another one that I'm going to put in can be up in the air, but follow me again. Kuyo. Because America does not have any, groups of kids where they actually allow their kids to form groups that will actually do what they do in Japan, Kuyo is therefore, if he was Americanized, they had to take out a lot of what he did. Therefore, Kuyo had to be removed of a number of his traits. His manipulative power, for example, his cunning, yes, they had to take that out. They had to take out a number of his attributes except for the flame. What are you left with? Unfortunately, otherwise, Kuyo was an annoying prick. In my opinion, he was an annoying prick. He talked way too much. And yes, sometimes what he said was aggravating. Just aggravating. If you looked at it from an annoying perspective. Now, if you look at it in America from Monster High, who does this remind you of? An annoying prick who is a hothead. Doesn't have a temper. Who does this remind you of? Heath. Yep, Kuyo in America would be Heath Burns from Monster High. There you go! I am sorry, I kept seeing all these similarities from Monster High, and now I'm starting to see new dolls in the stores of Pinky Skull. I'm sorry. Monster High came from Rosario Vampire. Now they're starting to come out with Pinky Skull. And I still have a lot to come out with. Cleo Denial. Of course, every high school needs their drama queen. But Cleo Denial takes the cake. Kurumu was the drama queen. And yes, Cleo Denial is the drama queen of Monster High. Kurumu did try to get a lot of boys, but I guess there's no real comparison other than the fact that they're both the drama queens. However, there you go. And Gulia, here's another reason why I think she's the witch from Rosario Vampire. They both do math extremely well. This being said, there is an episode where Gulia, one of the kids tried to cheat on Gulia. There's an episode in Rosario Vampire where they have to study from the witch. And no one gets her either. I'm glad when they switched it around. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to me. And I'm finally glad that this take went better than all my others. This took 20 takes to finally fit everything in. And I can tell you this much. If you notice anything else in the series that were alike, please leave a comment. This is Annie the Enigma, and I am glad I finally got this video finished. Thank you. Have a nice day. Goodbye. Oh, and by the way, this was done on my DS2. Diaz. Bye.